Alright, today I would like to make a video to show how to make animated DAE objects, specifically birds. So they fly around your map, so they look good, and they don't clip or they don't disappear, and they don't deform. They don't have any distortion to the material or the texture, or the geometry rather. So I'm gonna go through that. This is gonna be kind of, I think, a fun one. I'm gonna basically do a seagull from sketchfab, and I'm gonna put it in another map I'm working on. And it'll kind of, I solved a lot of issues, and I'm making this because I don't want to spend any time having to relearn it in case I forget it. So I spent a few days figuring this out, and realized a few things, and it's actually pretty awesome. And you can see the shadows are there, not getting any FPS lag or none of that. So this is all just a sketchfab crow, and the materials, UV maps, were already in the folder, so I didn't really have to do a lot of work. All I had to do was focus on the staging of the object. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop over to sketchfab, and feel free to follow along. Alright, here I am on sketchfab. So you just want to type seagull flying. This is the one I'm going to be using. It's just like a low poly animated seagull. I believe it has an armature, so I'm going to check this in Blender. I'm just going to download it, and we should be able to easily get this thing looking like this in our game, flying around the map. And then if you wanted, you can duplicate them. You can even make them unique with different flying. But let's see if I can download this, and we'll go from there. Here's the download. It's the GLB original format one, the very first one in the list on Sketchfab. So if I extract, let's do that. So what we're going to do, I don't know if there's any textures in here. Should be, but I don't think I'm seeing any. So let me just rip it in Blender and see what it looks like. So you can see the textures are showing up in Blender, but they're not actually, they don't have a folder with the textures in it, but that's not an issue. So let me just show, let's see what this thing is actually doing. Is it flapping? Yes, it's flapping. So it's kind of on this like repeating flap, and it just lasts for 2 frames or whatever, two swings up down. So if I well, there's going to be a couple of things we're going to have to fix. So the first is the material, and then the other thing is we want to get some more flapping going on, and we want to move this guy around. So first, let me take a look at the material, and let's see if I can go to my shader editor here. Oh, so there's not... Oh, wait, I'm looking at the bones. So that's just using a BSDF. How are they getting... Okay. So he looks like he's just using basic colors. So you can see that's white. That's probably like black. That's probably just like a straight yellow. Okay. So this could be a situation where I'm going to want to go ahead and bake these textures. And this is actually not too hard, so let me go ahead and cover that as well. So in this example, usually you'd want to do color map and a normal map. But for the example here, there's really no normals that I can think of that we would want to bake, because when you look at the color, it's just a flat color texture. There's not any real detail. And if you oppose that or compare that to, say, like this crow I got from Sketchfab, you can see there's a significant bit more texture. This is an alpha map as well. Like you can see in my color, which I'll bring over here, you can see like the wings are kind of like this alpha texture. So in this situation, I did bake the normal maps, but for this tutorial, I think I'm not going to do anything that advanced. I'm just going to basically try and give you a way to understand how to solve the distortion and how to get this thing into game. We're just going to basically stick to this, which is actually conveniently just a flat texture, straight color, no crazy stuff. I am going to bake the normal as well, just so you can see it. However, there's probably not going to be any data there. So let's see if we can kind of wrap our head around how to bake this to color, so we can get a color and a normal image texture, so we can bring that into the game. So the first thing I'm going to do to make things just a little bit easier to manage, I'm going to basically join all of these different objects. You can see they're all different objects which are basically parented. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, shift click that, shift click that. It'll make it active. I just want to basically make sure I'm selecting everything without selecting the armature. Then I'm going to hit Control J on the keyboard. So now we have basically this single, and see, we want to click it and then press G, make sure I'm not missing anything. So you can see I'm missing like the eyes. So let me Control Z. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click those eyes, then I'm going to shift click the legs, and then I'm going to shift click the body and then Control J. So now it's all one object. And the reason I'm doing that is so all of the materials get plumped into one screen. I don't have to click on anything else. And you can see the animation is still working. So that's what we want. And you can see the body is a child of the parent armature. So now the goal is to basically get all of these materials baked into two image maps, a color and a normal, and that will allow us to get it in the game. So let's do that. Alright, so first thing what I want to do is go pretty much to the first material, and what I need to do is I need to hit click in any empty space. Oh, and if you're not sure how to get this open, you just see this little X, you basically click and drag that, and you get a new window. And then at the top here, you can drop that down. We're just in the shader editor right now. Later, we're going to go to the UV editor here, so I'll just leave that open now. So I'll just kind of like slide this a little bit so it doesn't take up too much room. So the first thing I want to do is I want to be in object mode. Okay, you have your object mode, edit mode. If you're not good with Blender, maybe don't worry about that so much, but when you come back and get good at Blender, this will help you. But so we're in object mode. I'm clicking the object. What we're going to do is I'm just going to go down this whole entire list, and I'm going to add 2 image textures to every one of these materials. So the first thing I have to click in this space, Shift A. We're going to search for image texture. Click that. I'm actually going to duplicate this because I need a different one for my normal. So this is going to be color, this is going to be normal. So what I'm going to do is, for this guy, I'm just going to probably do a 1024 image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in my UV editor here actually, I'm going to hit an image, new. I want to leave it 1024. I'm just going to call it bird. Call it whatever. I don't need alpha in this channel, so I'm just going to say uncheck alpha. It'll make the file smaller, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't need alpha. I'm not going to cover alpha in this tutorial. Alpha's kind of a little bit more on the advanced. It's just a little bit different on how you approach it when you're baking textures. So there's no need to bake any alpha. This is all solid geometry. You can see if I go to edit mode, you know, it's all one piece. There's no alpha texture creating this. So we're not worrying about alpha today. So I have my UV. You know, you can see the UV map there. When I did the edit mode and select all with A, so you can see my UV map. Those are my UV islands. Good to go there. So all I need to do, I'm going to create a new image, make sure it matches 1024. I'm just going to say bird color. Should probably call it seagull color, I guess. And then I'm just going to hit new image, make sure color space is set to sRGB. Then I'm going to do a one for the normal, so I'm going to call bird normal. And no alpha. See how the alpha checkbox is gone? That's because when I created this UV image, I unchecked alpha. So it seems like every image you create kind of follows that. It'll remember that. But, so let's do a new bird normal on the naming, and then just hit OK. So now I want to set color space to non-color because it's a normal map. Anytime you have a color map, it has to be sRGB. Normal, roughness, all those other kind of maps are going to have to set to non-color. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select these, and I'm going to right click, copy. So what I need to do is I need to go down this whole list right here. We're going to go right click, paste. I'm actually going to select color in this mode here, and then go to yellow, right click, paste. Just kind of scooch them up. Select color, right click, paste on the next one. You don't have to select color now, but I like to. And go to the next one, right click, paste. Click the color. There's a lot of them, so just kind of keep going. Put them in. Right click, paste. Put them in. Black. Right click, paste. Put them in. Black. There's a lot of them, huh? Now, I don't know if all these materials are necessarily assigned to any faces, so some of these might not be necessary, but I'm doing them all because they're all there. So now what I need to do is I need to go through this entire list. Just want to make sure they're checked or selected in white. You just have to click them to make sure they're selected, or just click them if they're not selected. That one's selected, that one's not selected. So this is why I click them or first, but you know. So now those are all selected. So every one of these materials, I have my color image selected. So the next step, let me go to render right here, this icon. We got to set our render engine to cycles first. Let me set this to GPU. Probably doesn't matter because I'm just baking an image, but let me set the max samples down to like 10. We don't need it to be that high. There's no point. That's pretty much it. So what we're going to do is go to this bake button. We're going to set bake type. We're going to say diffuse because that's the color. I want to say uncheck these contributions. So direct uncheck that, indirect uncheck that, and just leave the color. So now let me just hit bake and see what I get. So you got some color. I'm not getting any white. Why am I not getting any white? White. Let's see. Alright, it's not my metallic. One tip, make sure your metallic is 0. If you try and bake a texture that has a metallic value, it'll probably come out black. However, that's not the problem here. Metallic is 0, metallic 0. Really seems like I'm just not getting any white. Not sure why. Let's see if I can figure out why my white's not coming in. Alright, let me just try it again. Let me go to edit mode. Let me select all of the faces with A. So now they're all selected. Let me bake it again. This doesn't seem like it's taking it. All those are selected. Yeah, it looks good. So let me go to my material. Let's see what faces are set to white. So if I click my white and click select, so I can see my body is not getting anything on there. And my wings are supposed to be white. And those UV islands aren't getting any color. Let's see why that is happening. Okay, I think I figured it out. It looks like it might be my normal direction of my geometry. So if I go up here, see how you have these? I was basically just gonna click this drop down and go to face orientation. So you can see my, let me go to edit mode here. So you can see my right wing has some like normals that are in red, so the faces are flipped. Their normals are flipped. So what I need to do, I think what I'm going to do, let me just check it, make sure if there's, see if there's any, there's no mirror modifiers, so I think this is all one, yeah, this is all one mesh. So I think what I need to do is just, I'm just going to flip the normals on this. So let me just go to face select right here, click in the face in edit mode, and then I'm going to basically select this. I'm going to do Control plus, and then I'm going to hold Shift, box select more, Control plus. I'm basically going to repeat that until this whole thing is selected. Control plus, oh, it's not getting anything else. Control plus, just trying to get all this selected. Control plus, that's being challenging. Let's see if I can manually click faces. So Control plus, it's not selecting more, it should be, but I'm just going to get this all selected. Now if I press W, it'll give me the circle brush, and I can hold shift and click and just keep holding shift, and it'll let you select more. If you end up messing up, you can always Control Z, but let me just get this selected. So I'm just holding shift and basically selecting like this whole, everything that's red. So I'm just doing that. Selecting red stuff. You can see, I think, let's see. So now I'm going to do Shift N. So Shift N will recalculate the normals. Now, didn't quite help. Control Z. Control Z. Oh, okay. I'm missing stuff. So let me hold Shift and keep selecting. And then I'll do the Shift N. Let me just make sure I get all this stuff before I do that. So, I think I got it. There's a little bit here. Usually you can do Control plus, it'll select more for you, but for some reason this geometry is not working for, so I'm just going to manually make sure it's all nice and selected so I can recalculate normals. So that's pretty much it. Alright, let me just do a Shift N now. Shift N. Still give me some weird stuff. Let me press G to grab. I'm missing something here. I think I'm missing some geometry. I'm gonna go to X-ray mode with this. I'm gonna basically do Shift, hold Shift, and just kind of make sure I'm selecting everything. Looks like I had some vertices. Okay, so now in order to free look, I'm hitting Shift tilde, just so you know. Shift tilde is free look. Alright, so I'm in edit mode. Let me get out of X-ray mode by clicking that. So now I can go back to my face orientation. I'm going to Shift tilde, look around, and I'm going to do Shift N. And let me click away from this guy. So, yeah, that's kind of giving me some weird stuff. Wonder if the... Let me merge by distance. Yeah, there's a lot of messed up geometry here. Alright, so I removed that many vertices. And let me try. So I hit M to merge my distance, and I just hit OK. Let me go back to X-ray and make sure that this whole wing is selected now. I don't know why this is the issue with 3D models you download. Sometimes things aren't the way they should be, so you have to like fix them. But all I'm doing, I'm just going to select this so I can get a good white color on my normal map. Because these normals, they won't even show up in game if I don't fix this now. So I'm just holding Shift. Alright, let me just go back to regular mode. There you go. Now you notice Control plus will work. So after you probably want to merge by distance first. Then Control plus will allow you to select more. So if I select this now, hold Control plus, now see how it just swiped the whole thing. So obviously merging by distance, all those vertices was causing me some grief. So let me just go out of X-ray mode, go back to object mode, go back to actually render mode. Let me get out of face orientation. Did that mess up my... No, my color is still good. But for some reason, let's see, I didn't do the Shift N. Okay, Shift N, there you go. Now, so now my normals are better. So, okay. So now we're going to move on to the other parts that are red here. So I want to get out of X-ray mode. I just need these to be flipped, so I'm going to select them and do a Shift N. So Shift N, there you go. Same with these eyes. I could probably just do Control plus. Oh, no. Can't do that. So I'll have to, because I can't just select them all, because if I do Shift N, does that work? I guess you can. So I guess you can maybe just select everything, Shift N. There you go. So if I wanted to flip everything, I would hit inside, but I just want them to be blue. So I guess I could have done that way. What happened to my eye over here? What happened to you, dude? Oh. This stupid eyeball. Oh. Is that not joined? Oh, man. I think I forgot to join the eyeball. I'm just doing Control Z to go back. Control Z goes back, and then Control Shift Z will let you go back forward with your undo actions. So I just Control Shift Z all the way to where I'm at now. I realized my eyeball is not joined. So I'm just going to go back to object mode, select my eyeball, shift select my bird, and then Control J. So now it's joined. Let me go back to edit mode. So now my eyeball is part of it. That's all I was trying to do there. So let me just do a Shift N on those red guys. So now we're getting a little bit closer to where we need to be. So Shift N. I guess I didn't need to be tedious about the selecting, but definitely want to merge by distance before you start this video, it seems like. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do select. I'm going to do Control plus. And let me make sure I'm going to do Shift N. So that'll make them blue. Same with this little sliver of stuff. Shift N. Oh, so now see it's not doing it without messing up the rest of it. Oh, looks like I might have a weird face, but I guess that's okay if it's missing. I think it's just missing a face on this geometry, which it's probably not a huge deal breaker. If I wanted to fix that, I would need to go to edge mode. Let me do W, W, W. That gets me back to the correct select. If I press W again, I'm in my multiple select brush. So I'm going to press W, 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 gets me back to my normal arrow select. And I'm just going to start in edge mode, selecting these edges and kind of see where they go. I could probably just do a shift select on this edge. Then if I do F to fill, it might look weird with the shading, but that will create another edge in there. If I go to X-ray mode, you can see it kind of created a random edge there. I don't know. But that might help in a pinch. This isn't going to be seen very close, or it's not very big. So let me just select both these edges, and you can see that other edge is actually going up there. So I guess if I select that, it's a big triangle. I'll just fill that. F to fill. Let's see, make sure it doesn't look bad. Let me go back out of X-ray. Let me go back to this drop down and get out of face orientation. And I just wanted to kind of check my mesh in object mode. You know, make sure it doesn't look too wonky. Doesn't look bad, I guess. So now let me try and bake that again. So now, if I'm in edit mode, all my normals should be correct. So now they're all blue. I just make me do a quick, make sure none of this stuff's red. Okay. All right, let me just try and bake this color one more time. I can just leave face orientation on, I guess. And let's just go to my render, bake, diffuse. Those are unchecked. Bake. Did I get any white? Some white. What's going on? Alright, I managed to get some white. All I had to do was I went through and just deleted the image out of there. Usually that's not supposed to happen, so I don't know. Let me add them back. So let me just copy. I got that one. I think let me delete. I think I already did that one, but paste. I just want to basically just doing the same thing. I just removed them and I added them. I don't know. Couldn't seem to get any white even on its own, so something was weird. Not sure if it's just Blender being Blender or something I'm doing wrong there, but you're supposed to have one of these in each of your material, and the color has to be, the image has to be selected before you bake. So I don't know what happens now. Let me just go through and make sure they're selected. Alright, let me just go back to bake, diffuse, and it still just gives me all that. So let me just select all and do a smart UV project. Now, what if I bake it? What does it look like? Maybe a little better. So let me just Control Z that. I guess, man, this tutorial started getting convoluted real quick as soon as I started talking about this stupid white thing not working. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to re-unwrap it, basically. So I guess it's probably something to do with the UV map. So all I'm going to do is just make sure I'm in edit mode. You can just be in face select. I'm going to hit A to select everything there. Hit the letter U and do Smart UV Project. Set the island margin to 0. Unwrap. Now I get, if I click over here and hit A, I can see it's kind of rearranged that stuff. So I'm going to just do bake now, making sure all of my materials in my list are correctly set up, and bake. Good enough. So let me just do image, save as. Let me just save it. I'm just going to save it in my new map folder I'm working on. So I'm just going to create a folder, new. We're going to call it seagull, lowercase, but whatever. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this path, Control C. Let me move this out of the way. I'm going to paste this right here so it gives me enter. So this will be my directory for the folder I want to work in. So I'm just going to save this color map right here, save as image. So there's my bird color. So apparently I just had to re-unwrap the seagull, I guess, but we'll see how it looks in a sec here. So hopefully I didn't spend too much time doing that. So let me do the normal. So all I got to do, since I have the UV map now, I'm just going to click my first. I'm just going to go down the list and select my normal. Make sure that it's set to non-color. So click normal all the way down. You don't have to do normal on this guy. You can probably just do it with color alone, but I wanted to show normal as well, which it's just basically the same thing. And then you have to go to your render, make this say normal, boom, and then hit bake. That's pretty good. I mean, there's not really a lot of normal data, but it's fine. We're going to do image, save as. We're going to put it right here. Just save. And so now we have two. And that's a good starting point for what we got to do for the next part. So that's pretty much it for that. So now, now we have two color maps, all tied to the single object. Beautiful. So now we're going to basically start deleting this. Click each material and minus sign. Oh, let me go to object mode. Then click the material, minus. Click the material, minus. Minus, minus, minus. All the way till they're empty. We're going to do a new material. We're just going to call it seagull this time. Oop, get my seagull. So now, this has one material. It's called seagull. So now all I really got to do is I'm going to take those image maps that I have. All I'm going to do is basically take the color and click and drag it right here into the shader. All I got to do is zoom in and move the color to my base color. It's really just to show you that you don't have to do this to export it. This is just to show you what it looks like before you export it. So I mean, it looks pretty good. It's just a seagull flying around the map. So some of this could be better. Like, see how that's kind of weird, but I mean, for what it is, the Smart UV Project at least got me moving forward with the darn tutorial. So let's just move forward. If you wanted to do the normal, you can also do the normal there, but it's not really important. The normal can just go right here, and then usually if you want to actually see this correctly, you have to use a normal map, and that will be color into, I think, color and then normal to normal, something like that. It might be strength, I forget, but either way, I don't think you're going to see anything because there's not really any normal data on this guy, but essentially that's how you would look at it. This isn't, you don't even need these plugged up to export it. So, but the only thing you need is this material name right here, reference. So that's pretty much it for the materials, I think. So I don't need my shader editor or my UV editor anymore. So I'm going to right click the little bar in the middle. I'm going to do join area and click the when it's an arrow, and right click join area, click it. If you need it back, you can always click and drag that, but I don't need that. So I'm going to basically now work on the animation stuff since the materials are done. First thing I want to look at is the scale. Like, I want to see how big this guy is. So right now that's almost a 20-meter seagull. A little big for a seagull. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually scale this guy down. I'm going to basically click, so I'm clicking the armature in object mode. This is the bone structure. And I'm just going to press S and I'm going to scale it in till that number is like under a meter, really. I mean, don't go, I wouldn't go real size because when you're driving on the ground, you're going to want to still be able to kind of see them, but that's pretty good, I guess. So let me see if I should apply all transforms. I don't think so, but let me just apply skin. Okay, Control Z. So actually, you don't want to apply any transforms, it appears. I've been working through this. So all I'm going to do, I'm actually going to snap my bone armature to the world origin. So I'm going to do Shift S. I'm going to do selection to cursor. So that'll plot my bird right in the center of the world. And so basically what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the wings flapping. So I want to kind of get that figured out. So you can see it just does that. What I want to do is I want to make that bigger. So let me set my end of my scene to about, we'll do 600 for now. And I'm just going to basically make sure my armature is selected, and we go to pose mode. I'm going to hit A to select all the bones. And you can see the keyframes for all that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just kind of repeat them. So I'm going to go to that last keyframe, select them all, press Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to drag that right there. Let's see. Looks pretty good. So just leave it like that. And then what I can do is press Shift R a bunch of times. Shift R, Shift R, Shift R. And that will kind of give me, it'll just repeat the process. So Shift R does that. So now if I go to the end, I just want to make this kind of a loop. So I think what I'm going to do, I also want a little bit of variation in here. So let me go right here. I'm actually going to go to where he's paused like that, and I'm going to select all these keyframes, and I'm going to basically G to grab and just kind of make it a little bit so he just kind of does a little wing flutter and then he starts swinging again. And I'll probably do that every so often, so it's like, oh, wing flutter, so maybe right there. So if I just select all those keyframes, I can G to grab. And then if I wanted to, I could even grab one of these keyframes, like just that one, and duplicate it and like put it in the middle. So now he kind of has a little bit of variation in what he's doing, see? So now, and then it starts flapping again, so you can see the whole thing. You know, pause. Just something. You can always make it more, but this would just be a basic thing. So, sure. Might be going a little bit slow, but that's fine, I guess, for now. Maybe not. It might be okay. The frame rate's not accurate because of it's slowing down due to the computer, but it'll work. So let's just go. Let's look at the first frame. Just want to get a loop. So the first frame, they're kind of in the air. So let me find where they're like that. I think it's this one. So I'm probably just going to, let's see. I think I'm gonna, let me grab, oh, let me just select these. Let me go out and select those. I'm gonna grab them, move them. I really need this to be like that frame. This frame will have to be there, so let me select some over here. Just want to kind of loop that a little bit. So let's see. So that's up in the air. So maybe I could just grab this sequence, which is right here. Let's see. I think if I just could probably just pause this or move that over. Might be okay. So now it kind of will loop. So if I play it right here, it'll start at the beginning. And it looks like it's seamless, but it's really just a loop. So that's the idea for that. So what we're going to do now is we just have to now animate the movement of the bird. So We pretty much got our animation, I think, covered. We got the materials covered. Now we're going to talk about moving the bird around using an empty, and we're going to talk about adding a cube around the whole scene to make the bird correctly render when you're in the game. Alright, so I'm just going to pause this. Let me go down to frame 1. So it's kind of important to make sure that you understand that your armature origin has to be at world origin at the start of your animation. If it's not, it might result in stretched or distorted geometry in your animated mesh. So if I go to object mode, you can see the bird's origin isn't world origin, and so is the armature. So they kind of match. So all I got to do, if we want to get this thing flying around, all I got to do, we're going to add an empty. So if I go add, empty, plane axis, I want to move that off in the distance a little bit. So let me press G. I'll press X. Just drag it over there. And that should be good for this. You can always move them further or closer. This is going to create a circle. So what I want to do now is I'm going to click my armature and shift click the empty. I'm going to do Control P, parent to object, keep transform. So now what I want to do, I know my animation is going to be 600 frames long. So I want to take my empty. At frame 0, I want to do K on your keyboard, and I want to keyframe the rotation. And then I want to go to frame 600, and I want to rotate that guy 359 degrees. So if you look, put them right there. If I do K, rotation. So now I have a keyframe for my rotation there. So the whole time, now my bird's going to be doing this. And you get a pretty cool animation out of it. So now before we export it, we're ready to create the JSON. That's all we got to do now. The only thing I wanted to talk about is if you wanted to make changes, what you need to do is you need to click that. You go Alt-P, clear and keep transformation. Now, if you have this thing, say, a little bit off, and you go to parent it, Control-P, and you export it this way, see how the armature and the origin is not at the center of the world? That might result in distorted geometry. So if you find a model that you accidentally did that, all you got to do is just do Alt-P, clear, keep transformation. You want to take your armature, make sure the 3D cursor is at the center of the world. If not, just press Shift-S, cursor to world origin. It'll pop it to the middle. And then you want to take your armature and do Shift-S, selection to cursor. Make sure you're on frame 0. And then you can do your click the armature, shift click the empty, and parent it. Control P, keep transform. So now, again, it'll just resume. So I haven't figured out a way to add more birds because every other bird would have to be not at world origin. So what I'm doing is just making one export per bird, and I'm just doing 2 different birds. And the second bird will just have a different wing flapping animation, and the empty will be moved a little bit. So before I export this, what I want to do is add a cube. And I learned this from Terry Martin Art. He taught me about that. Basically, what this does is this will allow your bird to always be visible for the camera in your world. So what I'm doing, I want to see how big I need to make this cube. So this cube is probably just going to be, let's see, pretty big, but let's see. I don't need it bigger than the bird is moving, so I'm just going to like kind of move it. Press G and X. Just kind of, let me scale, press S. Basically, let me do scale on the X. Just to kind of, I don't need it that big. You're not going to see it in game, but whatever. Let's see. So that's pretty good. So now, I am ready to export this guy. So let me save this, because if you don't save it and you lose it, that's not fun. Just saving it in actually the main level folder there that I have everything in. So now let's export it. So let me just select all. I should probably be in X-ray mode. So let me just drag everything. So now I got my bird, got my armature, got my empty, and I got my cube all selected. I should have 4 things, give or take. Don't select your camera. You don't need a camera for all that. I don't know what this icosphere is. I don't know. I don't need that, but I'm just going to go File, Export, Collada. I'm in that same folder. I'm going to do selection only. I'm going to just check. I don't need shape keys, so, I mean, doesn't really, you could just check all 4, I guess. Doesn't hurt anything. And then I just want to, I'm going to keep keyframes and all key curves. It's probably don't need the key curves, but it's fine. That's it. And then I'm just going to export seagull name, export. So I'm exporting basically a seagull. It has a UV map. It has material. That's pretty much it. So let me start doing the JSON file. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create just in the main art folder in this main material. I already have one in there, so I'm just creating a second one. So I'm basically going to copy this. I'm just going to put a comma, go to this. I got to call it the correct name. Let me go back into my seagull folder. Let me edit this so I can verify what name so I'm going to search material. Searching for my, what do they call it? Seagull or something? Seagull. I guess I'll control C. That. Close that. So let me go back to my JSON. I'm just going to call this seagull. Call this seagull. Map to seagull. And the color. I just want this to be my bird color. So levels. What's this thing called? Traffic Island. What the heck is that? Traffic Island. That could be a good map. Art Seagull. Seagull. I'm going to call it bird color. .png. So let me just copy this path. Control C. I'm just going to paste it in my normal map. For this example, bird normal. So that's bird normal. I don't even need that, so I'm actually going to delete that whole line. Boom. Control S, save that. That's pretty much it. Let's test the map and see if this thing even looks right. Let's go. And notice how I didn't bake any animations. I didn't apply any transforms, even on the cube. So let's see. I'm just going to go to Asset Browser. Go somewhere in the world. And I'm going to add my seagull. DAE, what does that look like? There he is. Let's make sure he looks right. See, a little stretched. A little bit. Looking a little stretched, not too bad. Looks a little bit wonky. A little bit wonky. Might be able to fix that. Now, I do want to add one more bird. So let me go back into Blender and we'll try that. Alright, so I just took the armature and I did Control A and I applied location and I applied rotation. And I'm going to try it one more time. Let me unhide my cube. Just going to select all and do another export. I'm going to name it the same thing. Seagull. And just make sure my keyframes are there. Export. Let me test that. Alright, so I'm back in the game. So after applying location and rotation on the armature, it looks a little bit better. Not so squirrely. Actually, that looks perfect. So I think I'm going to keep it that way. So I think applying location, rotation, keep the armature at the world origin. Then you're free to kind of animate it from there and everything should be honky-dory. Oh, Oh, okay. There's another problem. You see how it stopped? It's kind of slowed down. I forgot to change the interpolation on my keyframes. Let me do that real quick. So what I got to do in Blender, I'm just going to press H to hide that. Let me select my empty, press period on the keyboard to zoom in on it. And then I'm going to basically select these. I'm just going to right click. Interpolation mode needs to be linear. And that'll fix that. So let me unhide my cube. And we're just going to test it one more time. Let me export, file, export Collada, seagull. One more time with the new interpolation. And, oh, I think let me make sure I applied my armature. So I got, let me press period. So I got my armature, make sure it's at the center of the world. Let me do Control A, apply location, Control A, apply rotation. So I have that, my interpolation is set correct, my cube, everything's good. Let me just select all and do one final export. Seagull, okay, and that should be good. Let's try it. Alright, my bird should be working. I think it's working. And the interpolation should work. There should be no slowing down when he gets to the start of the cycle. Should just fly around your map, and that's basically how that would look. And then let me just create one more with some variation. And then I'm going to go ahead and here, I'm going to duplicate them around and like place them all over the map so it looks awesome. But where'd it go? Oh. But for now, let me just get it out, and I'm going to do a second one. Alright, back in the project, so I'm just going to hide the main cube so I can kind of see what's going on. Let me get my bird and press period. Get right up on it. So all I want to do, I just want to change like the flapping animation. So let me go back to 0. So at 0, it's still at the world origin. So all I want to do is I'm going to unparent the armature first. So click that. I'm going to do Alt P, clear and keep transformation. I'm going to go back into pose mode on the armature, and I'm going to select all with A. So now all I need to do is adjust these keyframes. So like these groups, I'm just going to like kind of drag them. So like that's a pause. So I just want to make them a little variant. So they get a little different. So I'm just going to like that. You know, and I'll just kind of go like this. Drag it to the left a little. That might work. I'll drag it to the right a little. I don't know. I just don't want them all flapping like exactly at the same time. So, you know, you can even get fancy if you wanted to like drag this entire thing and just G a little bit. So now you have another gap. So now he looks like he's staying and then he's flapping again. So there's a couple ways you can make it different, but anyway, that should be good. So let me save that. So I'm going to go to the empty. So now it's not parented. So if I played it, you know, so I want to go like this. I want to go to the 0 frame. I want to make sure this is the armature. Let me go to object mode. So I want to make sure the armature is at the world origin. Or yeah, I want to make sure the armature's origin is at world origin, if that makes sense. You have the armature's origin, which is that orange dot. Right click to undo. You just want to make sure that the origin is dead center before you parent, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take the armature, first object, I'm going to click in object mode, and I'm going to do shift click the empty, control P, keep transformation, and so now I get my animation back, and he's flying around, so now he should have a slightly different wing flapping pattern. Oh, actually, before I parent, I want to move the empty. Let me control Z a couple times to get rid of the parenting line. So now I want to just actually move the empty is what I was meaning to do. I wanted to make it a little bigger. So let me move the empty with it unparented. G, and I'm going to press X. Just going to go like right there, so it's just further. Because when it goes, I want it to be a big circle now. So I'm going to do armature, shift click the empty, and then control P. Keep transform. So now we got my animation. So now I think I'm good to go to export again. Just gonna unhide my cube, select everything, save, and file, export Collada. I'm gonna name this Seagull 2. Seagull 2. Check these guys. Keep these on. That should be good. Yeah, why not? So let's go to the game. I guess that's really it for Blender. Not really sure what else to talk about, but it's pretty easy to understand. Just to clarify, just to review, there's no material on the main cube that's governing the visual stuff, and then everything has to be on frame 0 with everything at the world origin, and then armature needs to be parented to the empty after the fact. So, and then obviously with the mesh you have all your color baking, UV mapping, and all that good stuff. So let me just go back into the game for a final ending. We're going to duplicate these guys and move them around. Alright. See if I can find this thing. Just going to try and click it if I can. Sometimes you can't see. I don't know if I have it selected. Let me go to my my freaking scene tree. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm even clicking that thing. Seagull. Like, there's no way to zoom in on it, so you just kind of gotta like find it. But so there's one. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the second one, plop that thing right next to it, kind of. I guess there he is. Let's see. I guess I'm just gonna play it. See if it even works first. Sure. That's gotta be a big circle. So I think what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to start duplicating things like this. Rotate, press 1, duplicate. Yeah, I'll make them higher, different levels. Shift, duplicate, spin it, make it higher. You know, I could even just take all of them and hold shift, spin it. So now I duplicated it, so now I'm just going to move that and like kind of move it over here, you know. Now we should have a bunch. They might be too high there. If you don't want to not be able to see them, try to bring them down. Where are they? Oh, wait. So we're just going to do a couple more because I can't see them. So I'm just going to do like seagull DA again here, MJ, so I can kind of see where they're at. Kind of small. If I wanted to make them bigger, you could press 3 and scale them. See how I'm like making them bigger so you can see them. So now if I did one more, seagull 2, and scaled it a little bit. There you go. Now I'm going to take those two. I'm going to try and see if I can duplicate them a little bit. And then you notice when you duplicate them, they reset their animation. So you just kind of got to understand that. They'll play when they play. So I'm just going to spin them. I'll duplicate this again. Spin it again and just kind of like move them. Maybe duplicate, move. Even duplicate that way. A couple of them. One of them up. I don't know. So now we have a bunch of 2 different kinds. What do they look like? Oh, let me click out of here. I mean, it's a pretty small circle, I guess you could. But anyway, this is just a test example. So you got some birds. Let me go to my game. Got them flying around now. It could be better. They look a little. Some of them look like too samey. Like they look very similar. So I'd probably want to grab those and like move them and just get some variation going on, and maybe even get a couple that are going in a straight line. But that's pretty much all we're gonna do today. They do look good though, you know, even for low poly, really look good. Although let's look at the actual. Some of them are weird. Like there's some weird gradient going on. I don't know what that's about, but that could be my texture bake. You know, maybe yeah, I think that I remember seeing something that looked like that in Blender. Unless it's the sun. Maybe the sun's creating a shadow. I don't know. Is every wing black? Every right wing? Oh no. That right wing's black. That right wing. It's well, maybe that is a shadow thing. So what if I turn off the normal map? Let me remove the normal map on this example. Remove. Save. Nah, it doesn't really help. It's like even with no material, it still has the right wing weird shading. So I don't know. Hey, whatever. I don't know. I could fix it in Blender. It's probably something I gotta fix, but I'm not too concerned. Whoosh.